Okay, so we left off at day 8. Actually, that would probably be days 8 through 10, but that was the way we were living, was reheating the MREs. We had those little single serving packets and things, so we were pretty well suited for that, and we had plenty of water and plenty to drink because we had taken the time to prepare. But a lot of people hadn't. By day 9, things were getting really weird. You started hearing gunshots a lot. No cops. No cops anywhere. The other thing that was really annoying, and this is the other reason you don't want to be in a city when the shit hits the fan. When there's a disaster, everybody that passes you that thinks you have something, they think it ought to be theirs for free, that you're just supposed to give it to them, that you're supposed to hand it to them. Hey buddy, I got an E-tube. I got an E2 and I got a drink. And I will charge your cell phone because I got an endless supply of power coming down from the sun, and I might help you with some, nobody needed water, but I went up to the Army surplus place, and one of our friends, Rick, was there, and he was having to guard his place, and people would drive up in these fancy ass cars, it's all glitz and bling, and they'd expect you to give them shit from that place. And when you didn't, and you told them where the actual relief center was, they'd almost spit on you, That's scummy, man. That's scummy people. But anyway, if you're in a city, don't stay any longer than 14 days. People's, like I said, their old bellies start growling, their babies start crying, and they're going to start going around looking for things that they want. The situation can get ugly. By the time we reached day 14, the lights came on. And it was in the middle of the night the lights came on. You could see by day 10 little spots of light starting to appear on the clouds. Now this is the crappy thing. They were fixing the rich people's parts of town first. The Woodlands came on. The affluent neighborhoods, all those switched on first. I remember that because we went past a lot of that when it was all happening. All of that fancy schmancy crap with all the whiners and the rich folks. They got their power first. Old Town Spring and the areas around there didn't get their power till way after, and it was, all around us you could see the lights on in other parts, and it was turning into an animal zone down there. It would have. On day 14, I was contemplating just getting us together, getting in the truck, loading our valuables, and getting the hell out of town. Because it was going to go to a zoo. If we'd have stayed off much longer, people were getting really weird and upset. And so we got out, but we didn't get out. Thankfully, the lights came on, the power came up. And day 14 is when the damn cleanup crews showed up out there and started pulling the logs and the shit out of the streets so that you could actually get out of town. So even if we'd wanted to, it would have been very difficult. We were just driving a little Cavalier at the time, and you can't get over a lot of that junk that's in the streets. Of course, with the Avalanche, with the Z71 package, which is what we got now, it's kind of easy to get around anywhere you need to with that. That's four-wheel drive. But if it had gone day 15, we were going to head out. I was going to tell her that let's just get our things and go. We know people who have brick houses or places that have power already we can go to, and we can stay there and fortify. Because you can't defend a camper for very long. And Tranquil Times was right in town in the middle of all that crap that was going on. And it just was getting unsafe to stay there. So that was my concern on day 14 before the lights finally switched on. And that was a blessing. We were very happy because when the lights came on, we were able to start cleaning and getting rid of the stuff. I had 2 pear trees, and Hurricane Ike destroyed both of those, and I had timber all over the yard. There were downed branches, just crap everywhere. So cleanup after that took quite a while. But what we carried away from this, I'll elaborate on in the next video. So, what did Ike teach us? What did Ike teach us? Ike taught us some very important things. Number one, always be prepared. When you hear the word hurricane season spoken for the first time on the news, that's when you should start gathering up your resources. Not when they're already talking about a hurricane churning somewhere. Because by that time, all the old farts and all the crazy people have run to the store and picked the shelves dry. Especially when they start talking about warnings and watches coming up. So, before anything, just make a point at the first day of hurricane season, start buying a little extra canned food. And if you can get your hands on them, start getting single entree or meal pack MREs. Not the civilian crap. That stuff doesn't last for anything. It's got a bunch of junk food in it. That's all it is. And all of that stuff has expiration dates. It's the same crap you buy off the shelf in the supermarket. They just put it in a bag and call it a civilian meal ready to eat. Go get real MREs that can hold up for 2+ years. You know, if you know a friend who knows somebody who has an Army surplus store or has access to that stuff, start acquiring it. That was weird. Thought I heard somebody in there. Get yourself at least 3 5-gallon bottles that go on water coolers. Get you a way to get the water out. They make a pump that sits on top, or just get you a water cooler to put it on. You know, the pump that sits on top is good. It takes minimal space. You know, it's not luxury, but it gets you your water. We have probably about 20 gallons of storage because we've got several of these, and I'm going to be augmenting that storage pretty soon. And just what you need. This isn't prepping. This is just disaster preparedness. Natural disaster comes along. Don't let people know you're stockpiling. Absolutely don't let people know you're stockpiling, except for very trusted individuals who you know can keep that crap under their hat. Because when people start finding out that you've got stuff held up there and they don't have anything, it's like I said, when their old stomach starts to growling and them babies start to crying, here they come, and they want what you have. So, kind of keep that on the QT. Only tell people that need to know that you have that. If you know, like a pregnant mother, or you know, a mother with a baby or something like that, who have a critical need for food and water, let them know, but don't let everybody in your neighborhood know. Because one of the things that happened when people started to figure out that I had lights over there, and I was the only one for miles that had lights, people were wanting me to charge their cell phones. They were coming off the street wanting to charge up. And that's good, but every time you charge a cell phone, that pulls a little bit of power off your battery. Every time you run a light or you run some other thing, that pulls power off your battery. And if you've only got 115 to 200 amp hours of power, you also have to provide for security lighting and lighting of your building. The best thing to do, only use that when you need it. And we actually needed those lights because it did get really, really weird after about 7 to 8 days. Security became a paramount concern, so we had to run lights. People were always coming around, how are you doing all this without a generator? You know, it did generate an interest in solar power, but here's the other thing. People very quickly forget things after the disaster has passed. All those people that wanted to know more information about how I was solar powering everything disappeared. They said they were going to come back later and ask about it, you know. They all disappeared. I never saw them again. Lights came on, disaster over. Okay, let's go back to what we're doing. They're probably not even prepared now. But just things you got to do. That's one of the things. Stock up. And keep knowledge of your stocking up minimal to people that only require it. Keep a weapon. We were very glad we had guns, especially when people started stealing stuff. It was good to have it by my side. I had a 410 shotgun and I had a pump 12 gauge. And you can bet your ass that I slept with that 12 gauge pump right there next to me in that bed every night. Not just because of the situation, but because that's a high crime neighborhood, and that, whoa, almost dropped it. That made it worse. That made it worse. That exacerbated the problem. So keep yourself and keep the people near you armed. Allison was armed and I was armed. And Allison had a dog the size of a man in there with her. So I was not worried about Allison sleeping at tranquil times while I was guarding the house. So, anyway, I'll get further into this. I think I'm running out of time.